Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you America's top foundational health coach, Dr. Joe D.
Hey there, I'm Dr. Jody Bear here with an incredible life's milkshake moment. You know, I always say that, but it's really true. I had an incredible life as a health coach in a conventional practice for 48 years, and I had the absolute undeniable, undeniable honor. And I was humbled to say over a million pounds of toxic fat lost in my 35,000 clients. But in this 4 decades, the last 5 have been the best. And truly, truly, the last couple decades have been the best because of our guest here. You see, we are the accumulation of those that we meet, those that meet us, those that we meet, and those that we collaborate with. So be open to your life's milkshake moment. You never know what those ingredients in your life in the present, when we live in the now, will create. Be open to new things, new ideas, new modalities, new ways of living, because that's what is all about, creating your life's milkshake moment. And frankly, as Dr. Jody Bear, I can say, Health Coach Jody, just one certification to give you a little bit of background, because this is a Health-opedia moment here on Health-opedia channel on YouTube. It's truly, truly is. I want you to just pause right now before we go any further and go to your YouTube channel, like, subscribe, share this episode. It will be epic in someone's life. As we say, life is like a milkshake. Choose your ingredients wisely, and when you do, life will be oh so sweet. Little did I know that Dr. Hulda Clark would come into my life, because one of my milkshake moments ingredients was finding something for my youngest son, who was just me with testosterone, and they labeled him ADHD. Got kicked out of kindergarten. Now I ask you, who gets kicked out of kindergarten? I knew I had to find something for him, and because I went and looked. It's like what Les Brown says. Know that it is necessary for you to do what only you can do. Go about it as though your life depends upon it, because at the end, it does. And this was the does that was dependent on my young son. I knew that Hulda Clark lived outside of Atlanta. I found her. And what I found was something that was priceless, because truly your health is your wealth. It absolutely changed the trajectory of my young son's life in just 3 days. And I will tell you, once I sent him back to kindergarten, and I went ahead and they said, well, what's changed with him? What did you do? No, I just went and allowed his body to heal himself, because the body is a miracle-making machine. It can and will heal itself in all 6 pillars, as we talk about every single episode, starting with spiritual. Then we go to mental, emotional, physical, financial, and then we take it to the world social. Well, he found the keys, and he still is using it 40 years plus this day. But what I did, back to little Jody, health coach, because I had a desire. I had just an unmitigated desire, not only to find out what were the keys that Dr. Hulda Clark had. So I knocked on her door a second time 3 days later. And she said, I'm just not seeing any more patients. But patient I was, and persistent I was with that answer, because I laid the foundation of what we have now, which is Health-opedia, the company, the book, and the retreat. What I said to Dr. Hulda Clark at 28 8 years old. I said, what if I'm the person that's going to carry your message long after you're gone? Well, I wrote a goal card, March 1984. You've seen it before, and it involves seeing it again. It is absolutely, I'm telling you, see, it falls out of this thing. I'll take it about like this. It is faded. It's yellow, but it says March 1984. I will pen the Eastern medical version of the PDR. Found that goal card during the COVID time when I was writing my book from my dissertation, The 21 Days to Your Best You. And I looked to my husband and said, do you think that I could go ahead and create an anthology, because the writing bug had absolutely bit me? Could I go ahead and actually create an anthology, authors coming together about health? And he looked at me and said, well, you are a walking encyclopedia of health. And Healthopedia was born. We started actually just this time 2 years ago. Who knows what your life's milkshake would be in store? Just be open to those opportunities. Be open to now. I'm going to say it again, because now spelled backwards is one. And now I will say it is absolute with great honor and just humbly say, co-founder of Healthopedia, the esteemed Dr. Jim Marinakis. He's now got a record. Of course, he will have been on Life's Milkshake Moments and on our Healthopedia channel now 4 times. 4 is a foundational number. And I can truthfully say the foundations are growing. Be on the lookout. Next Tuesday launches the latest Healthopedia book. It's called The Quintessential Quotes and Quips for Healthy Living, with Healthopedia elite author of Beauty and the Best, still Amazon #1 best-selling book in its category. 6 months later, this book will be coming to Amazon. You'll hear all about it next week. But what I can say right here, right now, the word now again, we will have in just a moment, Dr. James Marinakis. You know him as a physician, a homeopathic physician, naturopath, acupuncture physician, world-renowned without a doubt, Olympic team physician. Truly, think about it. 1984 must be a year other than George Orwell. It was in the Olympics in Sarajevo, 1984, that he was an Olympic team physician. He has trained and rehabilitated, as I noticed, the world's strongest men. Countless world-class athletes have been rehabilitated by his techniques. He is the master, as I said, of picking up the pieces for any of us Humpty Dumptys and putting us back together again, stronger, better, more equipped than ever in these 6 pillars of health. I'm honored to say that I've been mentored by him all these years. He's a formulator, creator, innovator, the chief medical officer of a new for him company, a manufacturing production company called Enigma Scientific, the founder of Vital Essence. You know about this V-Guard. And as I said, the co-founder of Healthopedia. He's also introduced a new medical science 40 years ago, a little bit longer than 1984, but pretty close to it. So now it is with great honor and pleasure that I have an entry video of the Dr. James Marinakis. Let's take a look, take a feel, take a listen.
It's about time.
World-renowned homeopath, naturopath, acupuncture physician, and facilitator of the process. Presenting Dr. Jim Marinakis.
It's about time. It's about changes, and it's about time.
And it's about time that we bring him up, facilitator, trainer, and he will be facilitating all of us in Greece. Welcome to Life's Milkshake Moments again, Dr. Jim. What about you?
How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic, knowing that I'm sharing this stage with you. It's about time that we're doing this in Greece Aren't we? As I wanted to say, sort of the Greek step aside. We've got the real Greek in Dr. James Marinakis.
That's funny. I have to tell you something that's very interesting. Marinakis is a very uncommon name, obviously, in the United States. When I was growing up, there were 3 people in the giant telephone book in Boston, Massachusetts that had the last name Marinakis. On the island of Crete, this is my homeland. The island of Crete, the name Marinakis is one of the most common names on the island. My ancestors have been there since the beginning of civilization. It's just for me, it really is a return of some type to my ancestors. It's amazing. And duly noted. I am excited to go back. I've been there before. Actually, the first time I went to my homeland was right after the Olympics in 1984 in Sarajevo. And it was a communist bloc country, and all of the venues were guarded by people in machine guns. And I'm a Malibu resident, Los Angeles, California. And I was not used to walking in and out of buildings where there were armed guards. Yes. We don't have that in America. So no. I was ready to leave, and I was going to go to the Dalmatian coast, but all the flights were booked. And there was a gigantic line at the airport to go buy tickets. So I couldn't go back to my wife and say, you want to go somewhere else? So I heard somebody in front of me buy tickets to Milan, Italy. So I went from there to Milan, stayed there 3 days, and then I went to Greece and made my way to Heraklion, my land of my forefathers. It was the first time I was there. And I did go and see the ruins at Knossos, which I hope all of us on the retreat go there.
It's already booked. It's already booked. Guess
nice.
What? It's already booked.
And I hope everybody on the retreat goes with us. It's an amazing place because it's hard to imagine that 6,000, 7,000, 8,000 years ago that there was a city where people had hot and cold running water, air conditioning, sewage, and we think of those creature comforts as part of the 20th century,
right?
But they actually shared all of that at that time. It's amazing. It's an amazing place, but I get to share the land of my ancestors with everybody that attends. It's great. I'm looking forward to it.
I mean, and it's amazing to think, and just looking back at it 2 years ago at this time, Jim, we were just writing our first chapters. We had combined 20 of our 40 authors in which now is become our iconic book, Healthopedia. And by the way, when I said a legacy piece, half of the authors are under 40 and half of us are over, having that wisdom, giving the generations, just like I said about Hulda Clark. It truly is a coming home. It's a coming home to you, but as well. But I think about, we began our stories, and I remember, I will not say, I have this PhD after my name. When we began this, it was sheer desire. I had 3 other initials. It said DKS. Well, you know what the S is. Didn't know. Fill in the blanks, ladies and gentlemen. That's what it was. Sometimes you just have desire and the knowledge will find you. And I mean, Jim, I know you were always a seer. You're an innovator. You're a creator. That's just what you do. You have intuition like none other. And I've known a few others. All right. That's it. So when I say none other, I mean it. But how did you come to decide? Because it was your initiation. You came to me, said, let's just start this company. What was inside your vision? Please share.
Well, I have been, since I was in private practice as a physician, looking for more and better ways to communicate with people. I left private practice to go into physician education, to teach. I had more physicians studying with me every year. In fact, there was like an entourage walking from one room to the next with groups of people that were observing and studying and asking me questions. And I had classes and taught postgraduate training techniques and things about science, some of which that I generated on my own. And I just made the tough choice of going from being a healthcare practitioner to being an educator, a professional educator. And I realized that people not only want to get well, they want to stay well, but they really don't know how to do it. And obviously the healthcare professionals don't either, because 95% of the population dies after having a disease for 20 to 30 years. They suffer tremendously. And I saw 35,000 people over a 10-year period. They were all by referral, word of mouth, and some of them came from halfway around the world. You can't get any further than that unless you're a spaceman. But maybe I did treat some of those too. But anyway.
But let's just back up. I don't want, because you just have a way of glossing this over. Let's just say, ladies and gentlemen, 35,000 patients in 10 years. No marketing, just by referral. When I said he's a visionary, they came to him. Okay, continue on.
Yeah. So I have been looking for ways. It's the reason why we met. I was looking for ways to pass information from a source or an authority through the general public directly. And a lot of things go through social media, but you can't ask a computer questions and have it answer you. You can look and see what somebody else put in as an answer, but it can't ask you questions either, unless it's a question that somebody else asked. And it's not a conversation. It is a sort of a communication. But for human beings, we require precise, refined, perfect communication in order to assist each other in the experience of our lives. And yes. I saw network marketing as a means of doing that because of the way the business is conducted, which is why I met you initially. And we took that voyage into network marketing together. You, of course, had years and years of experience. I've been around it, and many students and associates that did extremely well and were pillars of network marketing. Most of my students are very famous as physicians. But Healthopedia was an opportunity to continue that quest for more perfect communication so that I could share the things that I've learned with people. And that was pretty much is why I was motivated to do this. And I saw you, Jody, you will take on the biggest monumental tasks like they're nothing. I mean, you are definitely David with Goliath. You go out there, you take your tenacity and whatever else that you have as weaponry, and you manage to succeed. So I could see you wanting to get involved in publishing. And I had been in publishing before. I used to publish a weekly tabloid, and I knew that I could lend you a hand. So I offered, you accepted, and the rest is history.
And thank you. Yes, as I've always said, when you mentioned and said, well, do you want to be my partner? Well, that would be just like Trump asking Vance, do you want to be my running mate? I mean, he probably took 0.03 seconds, probably didn't even gulp. And I want to say, for those of you that are coming here, just take a gulp. Go to the website, Healthopedia 365. You'll find out all the information how you can go and be with us in Greece. By the way, that little downward slope, our picture behind here is the Rumili. I've decided, learning these names in Greek, like Marinakis, Rumili, they all have not more than at least 4 syllables. Okay, so the Rumili Gorge is like the Grand Canyon of Europe. This is an optional descending 11-mile hike. But what is in the bottom down there? See those buildings down there? That's the Calypso Resort and Hotel. That's our venue. So a little tickler, of course. But I mean, I want to go back to this whole thing. I remember us in Boca, and I almost brought in Dr. Jim, which, by the way, go to Healthopedia 365. That's our IG handle. And I'm probably going to repurpose this because we've got to do something about Greeks. I don't know whether I'm going to just go ahead and dress you up in a meme like Zorba the Greek, and I'm just following along, taking notes or something. I'm not sure, but we'll come up with something. Remember that fun little meme we did? You were in a Speedo, I was in a 2-piece suit, and we were running along next on the South Beach because we were in Boca last year. And I will say, yes, here we were, a 4-month-old company. We launched this book 4 months prior, was a 16-time Amazon amazing best-selling book in one day, and we trended on Google for 72 hours. And I'm going, okay, who knew? Our creator of all knew. That's the spiritual pillar. As you have taught us that have the pleasure of and the honor of teaching with you, those emotions, if connected, do amazing things. And what happened, this amazing thing was Boca. As we were back to the meme, I left us a little bit out of there. So back to the meme, Dr. Jim's in his Speedo, I'm in my two-piece, and we're running on South Beach, and it says, if you want what we have, do what we do to get what we got. Be in Boca. Do you know, Jim, that got 100,000 views.
That's hilarious.
I mean, we could give all the content of the world, and if we want what we have, do what we do to get what we got. So we'll come up with something in Greece that's going to do, it's got to eclipse this. But I remember thinking about our beautiful ace couple, Jennifer Kurz. Her mother was just not doing well. Jamie, being the wonderful husband that he is, said, I've got to stay in the UK. So they didn't join us in Boca. And this is what I know, talking about the visionary going before us. This retreat that we were doing in Symposium down in Boca was a huge success. I remember following you out. Somebody else was on stage, and I said, well, Dr. Jim, this year Boca, next year Greece. How about it, Dr. Marinakis? And we laughed about it. We laughed about it. Then I looked at my phone. There are no coincidences in this world. I look at my phone. It was on WhatsApp. Jamie's with his wife and family and his mother-in-law in the hospital. And he says back to me, Jody, I know Florida, and I'm sorry we missed it. In fact, I brought it up, and this is exactly what he said. I'm sorry we missed you and this. But next year, we got to go to Greece.
Yeah, there are no coincidences. And both of you are going there with a Greek. That's amazing.
Yeah, you know, and what do you remember about that interchange? Anything about that first initial thing in Boca? What was Boca like for you, and what was that initial interchange? Do you remember it like I do? It was amazing.
I do. You know, the first time you do anything, that you learn a lot. There are a lot of things. I mean, Boca was interesting in many different ways because everything changed. Nothing went according to the plans that we made. Even the venue changed three times. But it turned out fantastic. We turned what could have been a disaster into an adventure, and people loved it. We were in different venues. The scenery was different. The sound was different, and so forth. And we managed to do something that I wanted to do. And it's something that was done for the first time, where we took a large group of people and we actually improved their health. We improved their vitality over a period of time, where most people are tired and want to go home at the end of a 3-day seminar. And
sleep, I might just add, probably sleep for a week or maybe a month.
Yeah, and recover. And yeah, it's like people that go on a vacation and go home to recover.
Yeah.
But I set out, and I told you and the other people that were involved in organizing it, that my goal was to give people more energy while they were there, so that they left feeling better than when they got there. Yes. But we didn't tell the audience that.
No.
And we gave people instructions. We taught them living techniques, living skills, guided them through the use of them the way that I do and have done for years. And of course, we couldn't do it like we can in a 5-day seminar where we're with people day and night. But we did it enough so that at the end of the seminar, I asked everybody, did anybody in there feel as though they had more energy than when they got there? And literally everybody raised their hand.
Everybody. And it was, and I've just got to say, interject, when we did this, it was not like, well, I got to think about it. No, it was.
Yeah. It was incontrovertibly, with vigor, they raised their hand. Yeah, I feel better than when I got here. Now that I like to set goals. But it's nice when you can make a goal with other people and interact with them over what it is that they're doing. It's a tutorial. I teach by experience. I give data. I connect with people and create a communication so that I can pass information to them. But the lesson is actually the application of the information and what they experience as a result of doing that. And that information, by the way, to a trained healthcare professional or a trained scientist is used to identify balances going on inside the body that are precursors to epigenetics and other things that ultimately express themselves in your health. There are layers of prevention that are available to people, and I'm interested in teaching them what they are so that they can avoid problems. This is a one step ahead, and that's going to be integrated in everything that we do together with these seminars. And hopefully one day, even if I'm not there and you're doing one, you'll do the same.
Yes, and the other person will do the same, and so on and so on. I believe I'm seeing the Process Network Marketing Company, but just go ahead and let's come back. Go to Healthopedia 365. That's where you can get your seat. We are not doing a large group, ladies and gentlemen. It's a small, intimate group, and as we're going through this, one of these other huge things, I'm just noticing where it says September 29th through October 5th. We actually are not leaving until the 6th, but let's go take a look, take a listen, and feel the magnificence of Crete.
Healthopedia 2, the magic of a Mediterranean autumn, September 29th through October 5th. 2025, a Healthopedia experience and life transformation in 6 pillars of health: spiritual, mental, emotional, physical, financial, and social, one pillar at a time. A renewal retreat, cradled in wisdom of the ancients, energetically emerging within the azure blue Mediterranean seas. This life-changing experience nestled in romantic Grecian Isle of Crete. Dip your feet into the blue waters of the Mediterranean Sea. Retreat, restore, revive, recreate. Feel the waters of life return to you. Restore your living soul. This is the chance of a lifetime. What you experience as you return home, how your energy and vitality of the inner you benefits. That will reward you for all the days of your life. Lose yourself in the azure blue seas of Greece. Come find yourself at Knossos, the cradle of Western civilization, because this is where your new story begins.
I especially like that picture at the end. I'm just going to whip that on again. It's such a beautiful picture. It's from our book. These were our author pictures from our Essence of a Woman, which is still setting records all over the place. And really, thank you, Jamie Kerr, for creating Recreate You, the Healthopedia 2. Yes, retreat, revive, restore. That's what we are going to do and more. And I know you started, I just want to know what was behind that laugh, because there's so much always behind that laugh. Jim, what came up for you when you saw our beautiful video?
Well, I thought that it was wonderful that people got a chance to see the setting, what it was like, and to get a theme for what it is that's going to happen, because this time we're going to up the goal. Not only do we want people to have more energy and feel better, but we want them to get a shift in their health, shift forward, something that they've been working on for a while. Not only people will get the information, for those who are healthcare practitioners, they can take the things they learn with them. People can share the things with their family. But personally, I want them to get an experience that has a lesson in it for them specifically. And in 5 days, we can do that.
And absolutely. Monday, we start with the mental pillar. Then we go to emotional. Wednesday, I will tell everyone it is Yom Kippur. There are no coincidences when we plan that. We just picked the dates that were off season because we wanted a little bit of a price break, frankly, for everyone. But then Yom Kippur, the spiritual, then we go to the physical, financial, and social. It will be a beautiful thing having our Healthopedia, not only
Well, that's a very spiritual day. The date that is referred to as Yom Kippur is a very special day. It's a day that occurs once a year, and we're going to observe a dictum that was given to mankind on that day. And I think that everybody that's there will appreciate the historical account of how that Day of Atonement came about and what it means to every human being that wishes to take advantage of it. It's something very special that you cannot recreate under any circumstance. It's something that comes down from above, and it is a divine grace that's shared with every human being that chooses to accept the invitation. And we're going to share that with everybody and join together with them to be atoned.
With them. And if you're listening to this, if you're just tuning in for right now, make sure that you watch the previous part of this. I can really say that none other than Jim Marinakis will be teaching us the spiritual value with 30 people. I'm certainly not deifying you, Dr. Jim, but frankly, 30 people. Our Savior only had 12, and look what happened. I really believe that you're going to be grounded with your ancestry and your ancestors back to Western civilization. Who knows what can happen, but it's definitely going to be happening with the process. You've shared a little bit about this, and I'm going to show a video just in a moment. It's not trademarked or whatever, but I remember when everybody got their little, oh yeah, we're going to have supplementation in there. I just got to say, as you being the founder and formulator of this, an amazing product that here I'm going out and to see Dame Doria with Money and You. She's a big proponent in our Healthopedia book. She will be there to teach the financial pillar. I'm so honored. And she just texted me now, will you bring my V-Guard so I can boost my immune system before my event? Well, we're going to take care of this.
Everybody's going to be getting V-Guard at the event for sure.
Oh, there we go. Now I can be Vanna. Here we go. Oh, it looks very good. See this beautiful bottle, and it's one dose. What should we say, Dr. Jim? One dose, that's all, does it all. So absolutely. You can go to vitalessence.com. It's on my website. I just love that people are going to get this kickstart at the beginning. Anything you want to say about that piece about about V-Guard, Vital Essence, or the process, please do.
Yeah, V-Guard, our goal is to make V-Guard available to the general public sometime this year. And we're going through the necessary steps to meet compliance so that we can let people know how V-Guard can be used and what it does to them. This requires a permission from the Food and Drug Administration. It does what it does. It's been in use for the entire time of its evolution, which is over 100 years. And the initial formula was used to empty a military infirmary where soldiers were being brought in to die during the 1918 Spanish flu. And one soldier received the initial preparation. He recovered, left there that night. The next day, after the results were seen by my mentor, Dr. William J. Hulls, everybody that night got the dose of medicine, and the next day, the entire infirmary was cleaned out. And that's how fast it works. And I'm not claiming a cure because you're not allowed to.
No.
And unless the FDA tells you can't do that. But I am accounting the history. Now, V-Guard today has gone through evolutions. In 2004, the Canadian government contacted me through an executive in the government and asked me if I would help them with a SARS outbreak. And it was thought to be a pandemic. It never really developed into one, but it was very serious and there were people dying from it. And I got called in towards the very end of it, and it never impacted the United States. So I shelved the project to invigorate VGuard from the original formula. And in late fall of 2019, before anybody had ever heard about COVID-19, fate would have it that I encountered it in the islands in the Caribbean. And an individual had brought the virus from Wuhan, China. He had been there for 2 weeks, and he became infected. And of the 4 people in my party that were meeting with the Aruban government, 3 of them got sick. I didn't get sick. My natural immunity prevented it. But the gentleman that came from Wuhan, he spent 2 weeks in intensive care in Singapore after he left there. Nobody could reach him. The other person, one of them thought he was going to die. And a young 35-year-old, he recovered without any help, but he said, I was sicker than I ever been in my whole life. But remember, nobody had heard of COVID. Nobody knew what it was mysterious. The older gentleman, 73 years old, he was being treated for double pneumonia, but getting sicker. And I called him up and I asked him what was taking place. And he says, I'm being treated for double pneumonia. I'm taking antibiotics. He says, but to be honest, I know I told you how healthy I was a couple of weeks ago, but he said, I'm not sure I'm going to live. And I said, what do you mean? He says, every night I get worse. He says, I get worse every night. He says, I'm very concerned. I said, would you mind trying a remedy if I gave it to you? He says, sure, of course. So I gave him the VGuard, and the next day he was supposed to call me. I didn't hear from him. So I thought, well, maybe he's in the hospital again, but it wasn't. He had gone back to work. He was working with the government.
So hold on a minute. From thinking I'm going to die to going back to work.
Yeah. And
in days.
And I texted him, in 1 day.
In 1 day. Okay.
Back the next day. So it works very fast, but it works. There was a doctor in Miami that I know, a friend of mine. He's a medical doctor. He's a scientist who is famous. He's the president of the American Academy of Stem Cell Physicians. He got COVID fairly early on, and he heard me give a talk to a group of physicians. So he called me up and asked me, he says, do you think that what you have could help me? He says, I have COVID. I know I have COVID. And I go, well, I'm sure that it'll help you as much as it's helped everybody else. And he says, well, I'm going to send a courier to pick it up. Would that be okay with you? I said, sure. So I gave him some. And he called me up the next day and he says, oh, your medicine worked. He says, I'm at work. He says, thank you. I can't tell you how much better I feel, and so on and so forth. And I said, good. That's good to hear. That's the way that this works. So about 1.5 years later, I have interacted with him over a bunch of different things. About 1.5 years later, something tells me to call him up. And I call him up and I said, AJ, how are you doing? I haven't talked to you in a while. And he says, you know what? He says, I've got COVID again. I said, really? And I said, I'm surprised I haven't heard from you. And he goes, well, I need to send somebody back up there again to get more VGuard from you. And I said, yeah, why didn't you let me know right away? I'd have driven down there for you. So he says, no, that wasn't it. He says, since the last time, he said, people are taking ivermectin and monoclonal antibodies and Z-Pak and all that. He says, I prescribed all of this. I'm doing all of it. He says, and I was sure it was going to work. He says, but I'm here. It's been 15 days. He said, I can't even put the air conditioning on in my house because the breeze it hurts my skin. He says, I'm suffering. He says, I'm in terrible shape. So he took it again, and the next day he was at work, and he calls me up and he goes, listen, I got to find out what this stuff is doing. He says, this is unbelievable. He says, how does it do this? And I said, well, I don't know. I said, this is a medicine that was developed back in 1918, and I know what I've done with it. I know how I've done it, but exactly what it does to the body, no one knows. It's a mystery, like many things, like how does food keep us alive? Nobody knows how it keeps us alive.
No.
So along with 4 other things, which people are going to learn when they're there, it keeps us alive. There are 5 energy sources that keep us alive. They're part of the 6 pillars. So they're the first 5, obviously.
There we go.
So here's the thing. he says, well, we normally measure immunity based on white blood cell activity. And I said, well, no problem. Let's get some people. You can draw their blood, see what their white blood cell activity is. We'll take it from people that are healthy, not people that are suffering from any kind of infection or anything. And then we'll give them the V-Guard, and the next day we'll take their blood again. And we did. I think we did 9 people. You participated in this.
Yes, I did.
And 9 out of 9 people had elevated what are called NK cells, white blood cells. And he was ecstatic. And he says, my God, you need to get this approved as a drug. He says, every doctor in America has been looking for something like this to give their patients, something that can help them. It's applicable to everything, any kind of disease. And he's going on. And if you're a physician or a healthcare practitioner or know medical science, you understand why he was so ecstatic. And it's not a panacea in that it's not going to recuperate everybody from everything, but there isn't anybody that can't benefit from taking it because of the way it works functionally. It works to stimulate and invigorate a vital function relative to natural immunity. And we know that it produces both the A and B type NK cells, because when a person has an infection, a viral infection, and they take it and the viral infection, they respond, it goes away, and they go in and get blood tests, their antibodies to that pathogen are off the charts, literally. Mm-hmm. And that means that it's activating both types. So we're learning more about it, just like anything else. Nobody's going to discover everything that there is in a plant or a flower or a grain. People are continuing to discover more about it all the time, but we know that much. Using it is easy and it's fairly painless. It has a very strong herbal taste, but if you pour it over ice,
I just call it a healthy dose of tequila. Who hasn't done that in their college years?
Yeah, well, it is an alcohol. It's an alkaloid substance, which we use alcohol to extract the alkaloids of the plant. But it's a natural substance that's very easy to take, and it's been taken by teenagers. It's been taken by adults, and it's something that has many uses because our immunity is compromised by many different things, and we're going to go into what those things are at the retreat, and people will be able to ask questions. This is going to be an intimate teaching experience. People will be able to sit around more like in a living room setting and talk and ask questions, and people can make comments and share their experiences and stuff. I think people are their takeaway from this is going to be exceptional, just like Boga.
Oh, without a doubt. And like my quote from our Healthopedia book, miracles occur every day, beckon them in. Thank you, Dr. Hulls, for beckoning this in. Only the body cures itself, but this is how we're going to start and where we're going to go with this little tidbit. Who knew that you would be the star? Of course, because you were front and center of our graphic design, Dr. Jim. Let's look at Dr. Jim talking a little bit about the process.
The main reason I believe people's health is declining globally is because they don't do the things every day that they need to maintain themselves. They don't walk enough. They don't get enough nutrients. They accumulate way too much stress. They don't expose themselves to nature. They work under artificial lights that damage the rods and cones of their eye, their brain, disturb functions of their liver. Everybody wants to be free from disease, and they want to enjoy a long and happy life. At the Personal Performance Institute, we teach you how to do exactly that. It starts right in the beginning. The very first things you'll do, which are simple instructions, will improve your health, and they will make you feel better about yourself. Not believe that you feel better about yourself, but actually feel better about yourself. That's what the Personal Performance Institute can do for you.
So remember how I said at the beginning, ladies and gentlemen, if you've gone ahead and you've just turned in, make sure that you like, subscribe, and share, and go back to the beginning. And you will, without a doubt, listen to this over and over and over again. There are so many golden nuggets. When we, Jim, just splice this, and Opus is going to have this. Opus AI is going to have a really tough job because they go ahead and the AI goes in and just captures the nuggets. Let's see whether you can break the Guinness Book of World Records. I think you are with the golden nuggets that you have just put down. And if you're just tuning in with us right now, my esteemed guest, you've seen him before, and you will hear from him again, I'm sure. Dr. Jim Marinakis, renowned homeopath, naturopath, world-renowned physician, co-founder of Healthopedia, the facilitator of our Come to Crete and Find Out the secrets that will unfold about you and your health. And it's going to be with the process. And like I said, go ahead and just, I don't put it on here this much during this segment. So take down this Healthopedia 365. That's our YouTube channel, but go to Healthopedia365.com. I will say when you see, well, what is included? Not only everything that Dr. Jim has said, but it's an all-inclusive retreat. All you got to do is get your airplane ticket over there. And I'm just going to give one thing about, well, as we learned from one of our trainers, Dr. Jim, money and time are never the issue. It's only a matter of value. And I'm going out for a 3-day training summit where I'm going to speak. Had I been a participant, that money plus hotel, plus meals, plus airfare for 4 days, actually 3.5, is equivalent to our 6 days. Now, how's that for time and energy and value? We've got it in here, Jim. So come back to the, I would say,
people are going to get living skills that'll last them their lifetime.
Yes.
Yeah,
so time and money is not the issue. And that's my next question that we talked about. Why is this more of an event? We've talked about the process. We brought up Vital Essence. Well, we're not going to give you everything. You just got to go and be there with the other 28 of us. But talk about those living skills, will you please?
Sure. There are going to be several supplements that we're going to teach people how to use. People take supplements and they think about it as a supplement to their diet. But actually, supplements do something. Each supplement does something very specific, and very carefully selected supplements are going to be used. And we're going to teach people how to regulate themselves using the supplements through their own feelings. Once a person feels what the effect of something is that they're taking it for, they can take it in a way to duplicate that forever. And this is the key to life. Feelings are what give us life.
Yes.
Without feelings, there is no life. Feelings are our soul. They are our memory. They are what record every single thing that we encounter through our senses. They are the recipient of the messages from the spirit. They are the programmed part of our brain. And if you don't activate that part of your brain, you cannot heal the body. It's impossible. Whether it's done through divine intervention or through skills that you yourself learn to maintain and take care of yourself, it all has to go through the subconscious mind or the biological computer or your immortal soul. They're all the same thing. It's that inner child inside of you that lives. And it takes energy in order to maintain your body. It is the dust that we're made from. And we're going to teach you how to use it in a way to balance yourself all the time, to keep the physical stress away. This staves off disease. This is proactive. Why wait until you get sick to try and cure yourself? That's a losing game.
Yes. And then trying to get back up there. How about staying here and getting better? And what better thing with your feelings?
You'll meet my son. He works with the Ulysses. And Ulysses, this actually, V-Guard was the first thing that we worked together on. He was a contributor to the ingredients in V-Guard. V-Guard is quite a bit different than the original formula. It's much more potent as a tool. But those skills, there'll be supplements, there'll be exercises, there'll be mental training techniques, all of the 5 aspects of life that we draw upon to derive the energy necessary to live, to flourish, not just to exist, but to aspire will be presented in a way that's usable to people. They can ask all their questions, and it's a start for people, but it's a start that leaves you with a permanent skill that you can share with others.
And the skill, and I was thinking that knowing that you were going to be my guest here tonight. And thank you again. And for those of you that just tuned in, this is Dr. James Marinakis, world-renowned physician, co-founder of Healthopedia, and will be our facilitator here in Greece. 30 just, I'm going to say, first of all, I said 30 lucky people. No, it's 30 called people, 28 plus us. It's a very chosen kind of a group that are really going to be world changers, game changers. I heard you say a couple of weeks ago, Dr. Jim, and it said, when I asked you, what is your next stage in your life, your amazing life, which if we had a bio, it would be 3 pages. So I had to pick and choose. That was the hardest part of putting this program together, by the way, Dr. Jim. Which 2 or 3 things was I going to bring out about you? I'm thinking about your one company called Life Tech. You're going to give us the technology and the techniques for life, this process. Going ahead, and what you said about this was, I'm going to do work on health for humanity, and you can be part of it here in Greece. For just those 28 other called people, when we not only being in Rumili, going to Kenosis on a private tour, we're taking a boat ride to this whatever sunken city, and there's a spire that sticks up and you can actually see it and not even have to snorkel, let alone scuba dive. You can see it under these, I'm going to say a double entendre, blue azure seas, as turquoise as your shirt, Dr. Jim. And we are so confident about this. Please share with our audience what you came up with as far as a guarantee.
Well, if anybody follows all the instructions that they're given for 1 month and they have not experienced an improvement, they can have their money back. Money back guarantee.
And the Dr. James S. Marinakis, S stands for satisfaction guarantee on this one. And frankly, I know that we're going to have follow-up. This just isn't a one-shot deal. I mean, I know people from Boca were saying, oh, yes, I'm there. That's where 1/3 of our attendees are coming from Boca. See, that says something about not the process, yes, not you, yes, but what they've learned, that they've integrated in themselves and said, yes, I'm back. And we will have weekly Q&A. I'm hoping that you will come back in and do a mastermind once a month. This is going to be something that we're going to keep growing and going.
Yeah, 5 days will be in attendance, but there will be follow-up. People get to ask questions. They can call anytime. It's not over at the end of the 5 days. That's the catalyst that gets the ball moving. No, the staff, we have, Jamie and Jennifer Kerr from England, yourself, I'll be there, of course. My son will be there with Amra Bell, who works with Vital Essence. Vital Essence makes V-Guard. And they're going to have all of the support and assistance that they need to change themselves and their life permanently. And that's a strong word, but I'm living proof. For those of you who don't know, before I met Dr. Jim, I had a situation. Yes, I had stage 4 cancer, and I don't think about it much. Why? Because I've got you in my life now as my teacher, my trainer, my facilitator. When yes, I was like that Humpty Dumpty, going ahead and putting me back together again. It was certainly wonderful to have that kind of a relationship, but having that kind of a skill set is unlike any other. So what I can say, Dr. Jim, when you just wrapping this up, life skills, for instance, I'm thinking that it has downloaded. I'll see, but just talk a little bit about those life skills, would you please? Sure. Everybody knows where to get the energy necessary to keep them alive because they're here. They're manifested. But how much do they know about them? Because that's what determines the level at which one exists. If you're not experiencing all of the things that you want or expect from life, you need to upgrade your energy sources. You need to increase the amount of energy circulating through you and into the world, which is exchanged for what you get back from the world around you. This is where prosperity comes from. Money is an agreement between people. Energy is the exchange. And when you live that way, you don't exchange your health and vitality for money. You exchange your vitality for money. It's something that shines into the world. When you look at a young person, you see their vitality. And it's oftentimes associated with age, but it's really not age. It's something that's in you all the time. All of us have met people at any age that have a brilliance about them. That's your vitality. And that can be strengthened to the point that you can reverse aging. There are no limits to what a human being can do, but it's all energy dependent. And even your passage into the afterlife and how far you go is energy dependent. So there's no limits to what energy does for a human being. How are you going to get the ability to change that? You learn.
Yes.
That's why we study. Human beings are all looking for experience, and that really what they're after is to tap into that energy and vitality that is necessary in order to exist. Every single community on the face of the earth, even tiny little villages in the Andes in South America, are built on what are called ley lines. They're places where energy circulating through the crust of the earth cross each other. Without exception, how did they know? How do human beings know to find these energy sources? We're hardwired to do that.
Yes.
So when you take the knowledge and information about these energy sources and you combine it with an experience, it's in your memory now. It's with you as long as you want to keep it. That's right. You can't lose it once it's attached to an experience. That's a priceless value. There's no amount of money that you can put on life. I learned a long time ago from extremely wealthy people that came to me that were suffering. They would exchange their wealth for a day of happiness. If you can extend your life, what's the value that has? What if you could add 2 years to your life? I don't know how much a person makes, but take the amount of money you make in a year and double it. And that's what the value will be of attending this type of a seminar, this retreat.
Energy, vitality, longevity.
It pays in dollars and cents. You're the biggest bargain that you're ever going to have. I can tell you how you can prove that. A bargain is when something's worth more than what it costs you, and whose life isn't worth more than what it costs.
Our beautiful Alexander Healthopedia Elite author has a quote about this. He said, "A true bargain is something that you build on your emotion and you get back over and over and over again." It's in our Healthy Living book. Right. That's a quintessential quote, exactly what you're talking about. Yes, energy, vitality, and longevity. And we've got one more, the process video. Take a little look at this one from last year. The process, the secrets of the universe revealed. Want to look and feel great? We invite you to experience a whole new paradigm with exuberant, optimal health. Experience it yourself. Why only hear about it? Join us and learn to optimize your health and rid your body of disease. You're already healthy? Then come extend your life and feel your vitality soar. You will learn how to use all 5 aspects of life that keep you alive and cause you to flourish. Learn how world champion athletes use these living skills to set new world records. Align yourself to the circadian rhythms of the universe that regulate all things. Experience a meditation to clear the mind by eliminating stress, preventing degenerative health. How would you like to have the skill to balance your body chemistry every time your organs need it? Leading the way is Dr. James Marinakis, a worldwide leader in this field, having treated over 35,000 people over 10 years. He's a homeopath, naturopath, and acupuncture physician. Find out why he changed his focus from treatment to teaching the secrets of life, how he put himself through this process and found the missing link to the chain of life. People don't want to just get healthy. They want to stay healthy as long as they can. By incorporating the process into your daily life, you will heal yourself not only from aches and pains and diseases, but it will give you the vital energy you need to cycle through the emotions that cause disease in the first place. Wouldn't it be great to identify these emotions? Wouldn't it be great to identify which emotions are dominating your life, stopping you from experiencing true joy and bliss? Imagine what it would be like to reprogram your biological computer. You will. Come set yourself free on a journey forever. Hold hands with the universe for just a little while and see what life brings you in return. And what it will bring you in return is waiting for you to recreate you in Crete. Retreat, revive, restore. Dr. Jim, I want to thank you again. I know the list is this long of responsibilities, but you just make the time. It's like, I will say this quote, immerse yourself in the flow in Crete, in Greece, of who you are and how you are becoming. I just want to close with your last word of wisdom, which there are many. Just one last word, please.
Yeah, I know some of you are contemplating whether you're going to do this experience together with us. And for those of you that haven't made up your mind, I want to encourage you to come. Time is the only thing you cannot replace. And this is an opportunity of a lifetime. And some of it you'll be able to take with you. I urge you to, anybody you love, anybody you care about, share this with them, because if they're the right person, they'll be there.
And be there with us. As we said, and next week on Life's Milkshake Moment, another Healthopedia author in The Essence of a Woman with her solo book, Marbeth Dunn, somatic healer, Reiki master. Now she will be a best-selling author with her book, Awaken the Healer Within. Dr. Jim, you have awakened the healer within every time we speak, every time we talk, every time I see your energetic and your vital face, whether you're in that Speedo, in a meme, or here in person. It revives my soul. So just remember, health is not something you do, it's what you become along life's journey. So in this day and every day, make it a great Healthopedia kind of day. Ciao for now.